Never tell me the odds.
Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about why I believe that Han Solo is one of the most likely characters to appear in the Book of Boba Fett. And it's not for the reasons that you might think. When George Lucas created the character of Boba Fett, he was meant to be one member of a group of henchmen working for Darth Vader, and these were called Super Troopers. Obviously this idea was scrapped in favour of making Fett a bounty hunter. Even before the release of The Empire Strikes Back, George Lucas wanted to connect Boba to Han Solo and make the two characters rivals. While we never saw the true extent of this rivalry on screen in the original trilogy, both the comics, canon and legends, and even a passing mention in Solo have hinted at this in a significant way. Even before George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, he was going to make Boba Fett and Han Solo the central characters in his now cancelled show, Star Wars Underworld. In so many instances, the two characters have so often been connected in one way or another. And now that we're getting a Boba Fett series, the Book of Boba Fett, that would be the perfect opportunity to show us more about the dynamic between Han Solo and Boba Fett. The series takes place just after The Mandalorian Season 2, so about 5 or 6 years after Return of the Jedi, and given that the show is centered around the gritty underworld of the galaxy, you might make the argument that it's only natural for Han Solo to make an appearance. This is doubled down by the fact that Crimson Dawn are likely going to play a role in the series as well. And given that Qi'ra, the now leader of Crimson Dawn, is Han Solo's former lover, plus the shenanigans that took place between Boba and Qi'ra in getting Han Solo in carbonite to Jabba's palace, it seems like a meeting between all three characters is a natural continuation of the plots that we saw in War of the Bounty Hunters. Now I will say that Han Solo is a rumoured character for the Book of Boba. The fellows over at Tatooine Podcast are very adamant. But rumours aside, as I say, Han is a very logical inclusion. Whether Lucasfilm decide to use Alden Ehrenreich or a de-aged Harrison Ford is anyone's guess. Now, I've seen some other theories about Boba Fett and Han Solo, and they usually involve Boba Fett hunting down Han Solo for revenge. Personally, I can't see that happening, and while Boba Fett might put blame on Han Solo and Luke Skywalker for causing him to fall into the Sarlacc pit, I cannot see that being the reason that Boba comes face to face with Han Solo. My theory is that there's going to be a third-party force that connects Boba and Han. This could be, as I say, Crimson Dawn, or another syndicate that Han Solo got involved with. As we saw from the Book of Boba Fett trailer, Boba is on a mission to reunite a lot of these syndicates, and he could come face to face with one of them that had dealings with Han Solo. Not to mention the fact that Han is just as familiar with the underbelly of the galaxy as Boba is, and it's not too far-fetched to assume that their paths could cross again in the near future. But what if, just for the sake of argument, Boba Fett is out to get Han Solo? What would be the motive? I've been asked this question in the past, and I'll give you the same answer as I always do. Apart from the fall into the Sarlacc pit, a lot of the bad blood between Han Solo and Boba Fett takes place between the Clone Wars and the original trilogy, so basically off-screen and not mentioned explicitly in many places. But a brief mention in Solo: A Star Wars Story could shed some very subtle yet apparent light on this. After Mace Windu killed Jango Fett in front of Boba during the Battle of Geonosis, Boba Fett was practically an orphan. He was taken in as a child by Aurra Singh, and she was more or less his adoptive mother. While things ended badly between them, Boba Fett still admired Aurra Singh and considered her a mother. After parting ways with Boba, Singh took jobs from Zero the Hutt and Cad Bane. However, Aurra Singh's bounty hunter career ended at the hands of Tobias Beckett. We all saw how Boba reacted to his dad's death with his long-lasting hate for Mace Windu, so surely he would feel similarly about the death of Aurra Singh, but maybe not as intense. So you might be wondering, how does Han Solo play into this? Aurra Singh's death was referenced in Solo: A Star Wars Story. At the end of the movie, by request of Beckett himself, Han Solo and Chewie went to Tatooine to see Jabba the Hutt. With Beckett being a feared figure in the criminal underworld, Han throwing his name around would certainly get Jabba's attention. At the time, Boba would be involved with Jabba's crew of smugglers and bounty hunters, so when Han visits Jabba, he undoubtedly name-dropped Tobias Beckett and bragged about being his replacement. Boba Fett, working closely with Jabba the Hutt at this time, would not only catch word of this, but also associate Han Solo with Tobias Beckett, the man who killed Aurra Singh. This is a major factor in Boba's hatred for Han, but not the only one. There is way more that does need to be explored, but what I'm saying is, there's a reason why that Aurra Singh reference was in Solo. And it wasn't just a name drop, for the sake of fan service. It was to explain an important piece of the rivalry between Han and Boba. The Book of Boba Fett takes place much later in the timeline, but they could use the series to explore the rivalry a bit further. But as I say, I don't think their rivalry is what's going to drive Boba and Han Solo to meet again. It's probably going to be a third party, like a syndicate. Boba might try to reason with them, and Han Solo might be looking to turn a profit. All in all, Han Solo is a perfect candidate to appear in the Book of Boba Fett. I've seen a lot of people say that they don't want big characters like Han Solo or Luke Skywalker, or even the wild possibility that we do see someone like Mace Windu, but I do think one or two big cameos are what's going to drive the Book of Boba Fett to massive popularity, and I think Han Solo, of all the big characters that could appear, makes the most sense. I would say the same thing for Cad Bane and Bossk, but those two characters are more or less certain for the series. And another question is, if we are going to get Han Solo, does that mean we're going to see Chewie, Leia, and maybe even Luke Skywalker and Grogu again? I think if we do get Han Solo, then Chewie is more or less a certainty. A few of you have mentioned in the comments of recent videos that you would like to see Leia being played by Carrie Fisher's daughter, Billie Lourd. She played Lieutenant Konix in the sequel trilogy, but with the use of the same technology they used to bring Luke back in the Mandalorian Season 2 finale, we could get a deep fake of Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia using Billie Lourd. And who knows, they might do exactly the same thing with Han Solo. Instead of using Alden Ehrenreich, Sharmuk, the YouTuber that they hired to do deepfake technology, is the one who's going to make all of this possible. I think that would be incredible. I'm not against cameos. I would be curious to hear some counter arguments to this, but I can't help but feel someone like Robert Rodriguez, who is obsessed with the legacy characters of Star Wars, making the Boba Fett series the Book of Boba Fett, would he really pass up the temptation to include Han Solo? And a bigger question, is that going to be the Luke Skywalker moment of the entire series? But what do you guys make of this? Do you think we should see Han Solo in the Book of Boba Fett? Is he a logical inclusion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and a massive welcome if you are. And also, if you're feeling generous, then why not consider becoming a patron? The link is down there in the description, and on Patreon, you get access to my Discord server, exclusive access to videos that are not found here on YouTube, and when my merch store is back up and running, you're going to get incredible patron discounts. And I'm talking about 60, maybe even 70% off. You don't want to miss it. But with that said, guys, may the Force be with you always. I'm Star Wars Meg, and I'll see you tomorrow.